People that love it have to know that writing good comedy is hell. It's really hard work. And that's why I think the movie resonated. Right now I'm trying, and we'll see what happens. I'm trying to make the R-rated cut for Norm,
Right.
to do that because 7 minutes are missing.
Orgasm after mind-blowing orgasm.
I remember when I saw the film the first time, I was sad that line was missing.
Stop saying dirty stuff for a second, would you?
We knew some stuff was gonna hit people very hard, very quickly.
I've never seen so many dead hookers in all my life.
Lord knows I have.
It could have been a very edgy film.
What the hell was that about? That was Bush League.
Way out of line, way out of line. Have a good mind to go to the warden about this. You know what hurts the most is the lack of respect. That's what hurts the most. Except for the aim.
Dirty Work is very close to the edge regarding what one would consider a definite hit for a large theatrical debut. It was decided to remove certain sections which were seen as a little bit too controversial to be marketed towards an SNL audience.
Previews, you just never know what you're gonna get. You may have like a perfect cut and then, all of a sudden, one or two people in the audience, say, I didn't understand this, or I didn't like this person.
So we know that to this date that there were upwards of 2 screenings of Dirty Work, which were more raunchy, which we're calling the Dirtier Cut.
God, why would you show me that?
The issue for us came about when there was no intermediate phases of these cuts and no work print was left in existence. What this meant was we had to go to the only version of this version that still exists to this day. And unfortunately, that only existed on video. Thankfully, in this case, despite the fact that there was no intermediate elements which would properly represent this cut, we were able to thankfully pull from these original negative dailies the raw, unedited trims and outtakes. We were able to successfully go through with the work print information relating to these negative rolls and pull each specific shot. And using the original cut negative that we already had that matches a theatrical cut, we could add those sections back in.
We always want to get back to the best film element that we can use for the restoration, which is generally the OCN or the original camera negative. Myself and Oscar Bescher went through to find the time code that corresponded with the shots that were missing. We then went to our contacts at MGM to pull the corresponding shots for that time code so that we could try to get all the missing footage on film from the OCN. That way it not only was the best possible version, but then blended seamlessly from shot to shot.
So we were very scared that we wouldn't be able to construct a finished version. Thankfully, Frank Sebastiano, who's a longtime comedy writer, actually took video within one of the theatrical screenings of the Dirtier Cut.
We're at like a mall where parents take their kids, so at this preview they have no idea what they're seeing.
That's me shaking hands with Dwight D. Eisenhower, President of the United States.
Oh my goodness.
That's your mom. Give me a Hummer.
So for the first half hour, it's not a stampede at the same time, but they are dragging kids out like the movie within our movie.
And through looking at that screening, even though the footage isn't ideal, we were able to properly match the sound design to that actual theatrical cut.
Note to self, remember to get ass wart cream for giant wart on my ass. It's a little bit past that.
One of Norm Macdonald's tapes gets played through the PA system in the theater, and what he says in the theatrical cut was different than in the Dirtier Cut. The problem is in the Dirtier Cut, again, it was only coming from tape sound, and it was just a voiceover from Norm Macdonald that was basically in there as temp sound.
Even with adult diaper, shitting pants is unpleasant.
So I had to take that and blend that back into the theatrical version and make it sound like it was coming through the speakers in the auditorium without it standing out or feeling, like it was an uncompleted moment in the movie.
Largely with Dirty Work, what we're adding back in is language, which has been changed for a theatrical cut.
What's up, Fruity?
Hey, Aspie.
It's really a way of making it feasible for any viewer to not miss anything. Ass Bite doesn't make a lot of sense, but it makes a ton of sense in the context of who Norm Macdonald was and how he had his own flavor of things. Vinegar Syndrome has not really done a great deal with comedy. Dirty Work is an interesting example because it's a comedy with its own cult, and we're really serving that fan base by putting this out and doing all the work we have on it.
The overall goal for all of us here was to make this feel like it was a completed version of the movie that people could enjoy for the first time.
We can be definitively sure that we have the closest version to what director Bob Saget, co-writer and star Norm Macdonald, and Artie Lang originally wanted when they first desired this film to be released in its initial cut. We thought that it was a really well done cut. There are certain sections of the film which really bookended the entire narrative. For instance, the beginning and ending with the gag related to donuts on cocks, which you'll only be able to find out about if you watch the cut. Does this make a better film? We argue yes.